What do you expect to have happen as you go through each day? When you wake up in the morning, are you looking for possibilities or are you looking for problems? When you first open your eyes in the morning, what's the first thought you have? What do you think to yourself? Do you start by focusing on how you feel? Are you looking for that impending doom, or does the first thought you have focus on something that you're afraid is going to occur in your life? So many people talk about having anxiety and chronic worry and stress. And what that means is that we have not trained our mind to focus on possibilities. Instead, we are trained to focus on problems. When we focus on problems, we are trying to avoid bad things from happening. But that doesn't work because what you think about comes about. What you focus on, you move towards, right? Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So imagine that your brain works like a GPS and you tell the GPS, I don't want to go to the post office and I don't want to go to the grocery store and I don't want to go to the bank. Okay. Then where do you think your GPS is going to take you? Is going to take you to the post office, the grocery store, or the bank because that's what you're focused on. That's what you're talking about in your mind. When you say, I don't want this, I don't want that, that's what you're talking about. I don't want to run out of money. I don't want to fight with my spouse. I don't want to eat all the cookies today, right? When you are focusing on what you don't want, then you are moving in that direction. What we need to do instead is make sure that we are focusing on looking for solutions and looking for desired outcomes and looking for miracles in our life every day. When you focus on looking for miracles, when you focus on expecting exciting opportunities to arise, then you are putting your faith in God and you're putting your faith in your subconscious mind. And when you put those two together, when you increase your faith and you trust that God's going to drop those nuggets of wisdom into your subconscious, and then your subconscious is going to work to help you to fulfill those dreams, then that's when the magic starts to happen. But when we get afraid, we're not strengthening our faith, we're strengthening our fear. We feel like we're somehow more distant and alone from our creator. And we start to feel like we are all by ourselves and nobody cares and nothing's going to ever work out for us. And so we're feeding our fear, not our faith. And then, of course, our subconscious mind is our servant. Its job is to make things happen. And because it works at the unconscious level, it doesn't really care what's good or bad for us. Its job is to just make things happen. And so what we have to do is tell it what we want it to do, right? That's why we have these prefrontal lobes. That's why God gave us consciousness. That's why we have the ability to train our brain to be able to manifest what we desire. It's just that most people have not really ever learned how to do that. I spent almost my whole adult life, 36 years, trying to figure out how do you train your brain to be able to feel safe, to feel secure, to manifest what it is that you want. And I found that there's lots of ways to do this. And one of the most effective ways is by strengthening your ability to focus on possibilities instead of on problems, right? To assume the best instead of assuming the worst, because you're going to spend all day today thinking about different situations. So, what are you thinking about? Are you imagining those situations working out? Are you imagining them going better than you hope they would? Are you expecting amazing miracles to show up in your life? Are you thanking God for the blessings that you do have? Are you showing gratitude for what you do have in your life? Or are you only focused on what you don't have? Are you only focused on what could go wrong? Are you only focusing on worst case scenarios? Because that is determining how you feel, and how you feel is impacting how you act, right? So let's just say I wake up this morning and the first thought I have is, how am I going to pay these bills? Right? What am I going to do? So my wife has been in the hospital for the last 2 weeks. It's been terrible. She's had to have a couple of surgeries, and but she's on the other side of that and feeling stronger now. But we mounted up a whole bunch of hospital debt, right? So my first thought when I wake up in the morning could be, I'm never going to pay this off. There's just going to be interest. It's going to ruin us. All of a sudden, I'm not going to have the money to be able to cover everything. What am I going to do? I got 2 kids in college, and now I've got all this medical debt. And then, then my mind will start, well, and it's an election year. Whenever it's an election year, then, you know, um, it's a terrible year for making money. And then what if I don't have any income? And then, and then, right? That's what the mind does when you let it get out of control, right? It just kind of is like a bull in a china shop, right? It just starts crashing into everything with all the what ifs and all the worries and all the fears. And then, of course, I'm riddled with anxiety. So now I don't feel like doing anything. I'm procrastinating because I just feel like these waves of terror. I had a client say it's like a tidal wave of terror. Every day I wake up and it's like a tidal wave of terror. And it's an awful feeling, and I don't know how to get out of it. And so all of a sudden I'm procrastinating now. And because I'm procrastinating, I'm not doing anything. I'm not taking any action. And I'm focused on what I'm afraid of. And so now my mind is beginning to focus on everything else that I could be afraid of as well, because it kind of generalizes, right? It starts to assume, well, if this is going to be bad, then that's going to be bad over there. And this is going to be bad. And then all of a sudden I see my wife and she says, good morning. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, because I'm all stressed out. And now all of a sudden I'm creating other problems that didn't exist, because now all of a sudden my wife's like, what's wrong with you? And, and then I decide I'm going to just share all the fears that I have. And now she's freaking out. And now I'm mad that she's upset, even though I created that situation. And you can see how it spirals, right? So that's scenario number one. Scenario number two is I wake up, and no matter what my mind does, it doesn't matter what my brain does, right? I might wake up and the first thought I have is something scary. But I always think that this is a tennis match. If my mind lobs me a scary thought over the fence or over the net, I'm going to hit it back, right? I'm going to just knock it right back with something that's more encouraging, something that's more empowering, something, a thought that's more loving and supportive, right? I'm going to assume the best. I'm going to focus on the outcomes that I want. I'm going to train my brain to focus on doing that. And so scenario number two is I wake up, and the first thing I do is I say, I'm thankful for this day. I'm thankful that I woke up today, right? I'm thankful that I woke up today. I'm thankful that I have this opportunity to be able to get out there and play, right? You can't win if you're not on the field. So I'm thankful that I get to get on the field today and play. I'm going to show up. Winners always want the ball. Give me that ball. I'm going to go out there and make my move. Then I start imagining best case scenarios. I imagine that business is great. It doesn't matter. Wonderful. Business is picking up and getting stronger and better all the time. I have more opportunities to free more people from anxiety and bad habits and past trauma so that they can live their best life now. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about teaching people my One Belief Away hypnosis method so that they have the ability to transform thousands of lives in ways that are miraculous. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so now all of a sudden I feel energized and I feel excited, and now I'm making moves, and I'm making bold moves. I'm figuring out what I need to do today and what are the high value priorities that are going to move me closer to my goals in the fastest amount of time. Then I get really excited about, all right, well, who can I help me with this, right? Who can I lean on for support? So I'm not trying to do everything by myself. And then I'm always praying and thanking God for guidance. I'm always appreciating myself and my subconscious mind for having the ability to make this magic happen in my life. And then my subconscious mind starts generalizing and coming up with other ways that I can help uh, other ways that I can help people, other ways that I can empower other people, other ways that we can make things happen. And that's very exciting, right? And so, oops. So we want to make sure that now all of a sudden our brain is saying, hey, why don't you do this? And why don't you do that? And it's moving us in the direction that's going to produce those wonderful outcomes. And so, plus, I really believe that when you strengthen your faith, that opportunities come to you that wouldn't have come to you any other way. So you have two different scenarios, right? You have scenario number one, where you're sitting there focusing on what you're afraid of, draining the energy right out of you and not taking action, and then kind of manifesting what you're most afraid of. Or opportunity number two, which is where you get up, you focus on having gratitude, you get excited for the day, you focus on wonderful outcomes happening, you get really appreciative for the ability to take action, and you start training yourself to focus on the opportunities in front of you and what you can do right now. What are the actions you can take right now that are going to move you towards that goal? And when you just start taking action and you strengthen your faith and you keep focusing on desirable outcomes, then it happens. Something happens. Some lucky break shows up, some opportunity shows up, something happens that you weren't expecting or that you could have never predicted. And that's what it's all about. This is about looking for opportunities to manifest our best life. That's about bringing joy into today. Today might be the last day that I have on this planet. Do I want to spend it worrying, or do I want to get the most out of it? And that applies to you too. So what do you want from today? Do you want to get the most out of it? You want to get through today, or you want to get from today? Right? That is the question. So make sure that you are spending your time focusing on possibilities instead of on problems. And make sure that you are assuming the best instead of assuming the worst. Be grateful with what you are, with what you have. And remember that, if you want a brighter tomorrow, then that begins with the thoughts you have today. So I hope this helps. Be well. God bless you. Talk to you soon.